Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Ecclesiasticus, 29th chapter. He that is merciful will lend unto his neighbor, and he that strengtheneth his hand keepeth the commandments. Yeah. So you show mercy, you lend unto your neighbor if they're in need, right? And it says, he that strengtheneth his hand keepeth the commandments, right? Strengthening the hand is the hand of the needy, right? You strengthen it by providing them with assistance. Lend to thy neighbor in time of his need, and pay thou thy neighbor again in due season. See, if they need something, lend to them. And if you borrowed something, make sure you pay it back, at the appointed time. Keep thy word and deal faithfully with them, and thou shalt always find the thing that is necessary for thee. See, when you're faithful, right, and you keep your word, even if it's not something that people around you are going to do for you, the Lord is going to take note of that. Many, when a thing was lent them, reckoned it to be found. See that? They were lent, whatever it is, it was lent to them, and they act like they found it and put them to trouble that helped them. See? And then now, whoever it is that lent it to you, whether it's money or whatever they lent to you, are down there at a loss, because rather than realizing and keeping in mind that you borrowed this and you should be mindful of it, and be ready to pay it back, you count it as found, which is wicked. It says, till he hath received, he will kiss a man's hand, right? He's going to kiss up to you, he's going to be polite. And for his neighbor's money, he would speak submissively. See, at that point, he's willing to do whatever it is you need him to do. But when he should repay, he will prolong the time. Oh, I just need, just give me 1 more week. No, 3 weeks. And return words of grief and complain of the time. See, you really gonna get that? Yo, that's crazy. Wow, it's like that, bro. What you mean it's like that? You knew very well it was alone. Yeah, but bro, how long we known each other? Those are words of grief. Try to guilt trip you, try to make you feel bad for for something that you both agreed on, right? It says, and complain of the time, right? To keep making excuses. No, they needed 1 more week. They need more time. They don't, they're gonna do that. If he prevail, right? That is the one who is trying to get his money back. If he prevail, he shall hardly receive the half. So at best, you'll barely even receive half of what was owed to you, and he will count it as if he had found it. If not, he hath deprived him of his money, and he hath gotten him an enemy without cause. See, because now you've somebody lent you money and you've deprived them of it, because instead of paying them back, you grieved them, and now you're holding on to their money. He payeth him with cursings and railings, and for honor he will pay him disgrace. See that? Let's read that in the GNTD. Now this is Sirach. Let me just pull it up real quick. 6 and 29. All right, Sirach chapter 6, verse 29. All right, it says here the signs, and actually I'll read from 28. Slacky, not 20, not 6. 29 and 6. Not 6 and 29, 29 and 6. Let's go there real quick. Sirach 29. There you go, verse 6. It says here, if the lender, right, insists on being paid, he can count himself lucky to get back half. If he doesn't insist, the borrower has robbed him and made an unnecessary enemy, and all the lender will get from him are curses, insults, and disrespect, but never any gratitude. See? And then just mention that, because, rather than being grateful that, hey, in your time of need, somebody was able to lend you money, now you're upset to have to pay it back. And now all of a sudden they're stingy, they're crazy, that's not even cool, and all these different things. Verse 7, many therefore have refused to lend for other men's ill dealing, fearing to be defrauded. See? So for that very reason, a lot of people, they don't like to do kind or lend for that very reason, because they know, right, they're gonna get burned. It says here, yet have thou patience with a man in poor estate, and delay not to show him mercy. So even regardless, be patient, with the man of poor estate. Give him the time. And if you see him, struggling or whatnot, show mercy. Verse 9, help the poor for the commandment's sake, and turn him not away because of his poverty. Lose thy money for thy brother and thy friend, and let it not rust under a stone to be lost. Yeah, so lose as in spend. If you're gonna spend your money, spend it on a loved one. Don't just have it sitting there rotting somewhere, okay, or rusting somewhere. Because ancient world, you're dealing with gold and silver and so on. Verse 11, lay up thy treasure according to the commandments of the Most High, and it shall bring thee more profit than gold. Right? And your treasure is going to be through your good deeds. Okay, and it's going to be more profitable to you than actual silver and gold. Shut up alms, which are good deeds, in thy storehouses, spiritual storehouses. Right? The more you give, the more charitable you are, the more good deeds you do. It's like to storing them up, okay, in a storehouse. And it shall deliver thee from all affliction. See that? Verse 13, it shall fight for thee against thine enemies better than a mighty shield and strong spear, because once again, the Lord controls all, right? And so if the Lord absolves you based on your good deeds that you've done, it doesn't matter how mighty a person is, they cannot protect you as best as the Lord can. An honest man is surety for his neighbor, but he that is impudent will forsake him. And surety, right, is dealing with it's like a guarantor. Guarantor. It says surety. Yeah, it says here, surety refers to a person who legally pledges themselves as a guarantor for another's debt, promise, or safety, essentially taking on the responsibility if the other party fails. See, so as we just read here, an honest man is surety for his neighbor, but he that is impudent will forsake him. If your neighbor really needs you to be surety for them, an honest man, and also, once again, this depends, right? Because, Solomon also mentions you want to be careful who you are surety for. So you want to make sure it's not just a random person, right? Know who you're doing good to. In any case, it says, he that is impudent will forsake him. Forget not the friendship of thy surety, for he hath given his life for thee. Okay, and that forgetting not the friendship of thy surety, meaning don't forget who it is that did this for you, right? And how how much they've actually sacrificed for you in doing so. Reading this in the GNTD, was that verse 15. If someone does this favor for you, don't forget it. Okay, keep that in mind. He has risked his good name for you, because if you whatever it is, that surety, if it goes bad, it's going to ruin whoever it is. In fact, I think that it's going to go into that a bit. It says a sinner will overthrow the good estates of his surety. See that? A sinner, he's basically going to cause that loss for the one that that was a surety for him. GNTD, there are some ungrateful sinners who abandon you, or who abandon those who stand behind them, and they cause them loss of property. See, for being that surety. And he that is of an unthankful mind will leave him in danger that delivered him. So here it is. You have one that came to your aid, right, to co-sign basically for you. And here, as it says, being unthankful, they're gonna leave him in danger. reading this verse 17 GNTD, guaranteeing loans has ruined many prosperous people and caused them unsettling storms of trouble. Okay, so it says here, where we at, verse 18. Surety hath undone many of good estate, and and shaken them as a wave of the sea. Yeah, it has destroyed people. It has ruined a lot of people's, lives. It has ruined a lot of people's, their possessions. And as it's going into here, where we at, verse 18, and shaken them as a wave of the sea. Mighty men hath it driven from their houses, so that they wandered among the strange nations, right? Because not having, anywhere to go anymore, having lost all that for being surety to somebody. Okay, it says here, a wicked man transgressing the commandments of the Lord shall fall into suretyship, and he that undertaketh the following after man's business, right, and he that undertaketh the following and followeth other men's business for gain shall fall into suits, right, i.e. lawsuits. Let's read this, verse 19 in the GNTD. It says, a sinner who hopes to make a profit by guaranteeing a loan is going to find himself involved in lawsuits. Help thy neighbor according to thy power, and be aware or beware that thou thyself fall not into the same. You see, so you gotta, help according to what you have. Okay, but don't try to go above and beyond. And now you end up in the position where now you're affected, right? Because you've been pulled into whatever it is that your neighbor, whatever it is that they had, whatever trouble they had, and you basically try to go above and beyond your power. Verse 21, for the chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing, and an house to cover shame. See, a place where you can dwell, house where you can stay. Verse 22, better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house, right? So it had been better that you have your own place. It may not be the best, nice small little place, but it's yours completely, right? And you got your own freedom there, versus, as it says, then delicate fare in another man's house. So you're faring delicately, they have more luxurious things, but it's somebody else's house. Be it little or much, hold thee content, that thou hear not the reproach of thy house. See that? Because now you're going to be hearing the if you're not content with where you're staying, whether they provide for you much or they provide for you little, you're going to start to hear the reproach. For example, for it is a miserable life to go from house to house, for where thou art a stranger, thou darest not open thy mouth. Yeah, if you're a guest, you better not open your mouth. You better be quiet. Thou shalt entertain and feast, and have no thanks. Moreover, thou shalt hear bitter words. You see, because you're there, so you're earning your keep. You entertain, you feast, and nobody's thanking you for that. They're gonna look at it like, yeah, you gotta earn your keep somehow. But instead, you're gonna what? Hear bitter words. For example, come, thou stranger, and furnish a table. Right? Get up, go clean that table, and feed me. Right? Go set up, get some food going. I'm in the mood for this today. Feed me of that thou hast ready. Right? Whatever you prepared for me. I'm hungry. Basically, you're like a servant in their house. Give place, thou stranger, to an honorable man. My brother, my brother cometh to be lodged, and I have need of mine house. So here it is, you've been dwelling there for a while. It may be speaking to you reproachfully, and then one day, boom, look, I need the space. Sorry, my brother's coming to, stay here for a while, so you got to find somewhere else to stay. struggles of a freeloader. These things are grievous to a man of understanding. The upbraiding of a house room and reproaching of the lender. See, they're grievous because you don't. Number one, if you're a man of understanding, you don't even want to be in a situation like that in the first place, let alone having to endure affliction like that on top of it. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the book of Ecclesiasticus, the 29th chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Brachah Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.